Welcome back, YouTubers. Today I got myself Tamiya M-06 rear-wheel drive kit. It's the Volkswagen Beetle kit. However, I already traded the body off for a transmitter and a couple of receivers that I'm gonna need. Most of you that follow me on Instagram should know why I'm building this chassis. I'm mainly putting it together because I've already painted a Mazda Miata. It's also a Tamiya body made specifically for the M chassis. I owned a car that looked exactly like this roughly 5 years ago, and the Mazda Miata was a great car to drive, a lot of fun. I regret getting rid of the car, so I decided I'd make a scale replica of what I had. Hopefully it turns out okay, and I shouldn't have to adjust the chassis for the body, but I'll find out soon enough. The kit already comes with electronic speed controller and a 540 can brushed motor, so I won't have to worry about that aspect. I will have to add my own receiver, transmitter, steering servo, and a battery, and I should be set to go. So all in all, not too much to get this kit going. The kit itself comes with bushings, which it's not really my first preference, so I went ahead and picked up a bearing kit from Fast Eddie Bearings for the M06 off Amazon, and I'm going to install those right away just to prevent any further issues. Helps things spin a little better, less resistance. I was looking around on Facebook, asking around on a couple groups if anybody had ever seen the rims that I actually had on the car. I'll post a picture up as the video goes along. Somebody did actually end up having a set. They're made by Scale Dynamics, and the rim itself is called Hayashi or Haishi, not sure how to say it. Hayashi street rims, and those are exactly what I had on the car, so that'll be nice if I can pick them up. So without further ado, why don't we just pop this thing open and get started. Alright, so I took the lid off and I got the manual sitting on my workbench now. So let's open it up and have a look, see what we need to take out of the box first. So the first page is just kind of talking about things you're going to need to complete the build. It shows you're going to need an ESC. However, my kit specifically came with one already. Also, you're going to need a servo, a receiver, and a transmitter, and that should get you going. Down here it just has a list of all the tools you're going to need. This kit does involve Phillips head screws, like most Tamiya kits do. It's kind of fitting. The little yellow safety precautions page here has what looks to be a Mazda Miata dodging an RC car. So that's just kind of fitting for the build. And behind the yellow paper there, it's basically the same thing that was all on the left side, just in another language. Flip it over. It's got little pictures here showing me the different wheelbases available for the M06 chassis. 210mm, 225, and 239. So my Miata body should fit the 239. Might have to make it a little shorter, but we'll find out when I'm finished. And right below here it says I need to open up bag A and build the differential gear. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so what I gone ahead and done is I opened up bag A, which contained the differential gear components, and the first thing it asked me to do was take the Tamiya grease and lube up these gears. So I've already done that and put them inside there. Next thing I'm gonna do is put the top on, as well as a washer and this cap to seal it up. So I'm gonna add some more grease here first, just to keep everything moving nice. Pour some of that in there. grease on it. And that should slide in there like that, and you should be able to spin that. And all the gears will turn inside the differential. It also says to put some grease on the back of that for this spacer or washer. I'm going to speed up a lot of the portions of this just to make it go by quicker so you're not bored. Stick that on there. Line up the holes, drop that in. Okay, so I got the differential gear all snugged up, good to go. Set that aside. Next page is going to ask me attaching differential gear. Okay, so now it looks like I'm going to put the differential gear inside the differential housing. I'm just going to go ahead and cut off some of the excess plastic from the parch tree and figure out which bearings I have to put on this, and then I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to speed this up just to make it a little quicker for you guys. Have to find part F6, it's where the bearing goes in. So to me, it doesn't really make this easy when you're putting this kit together. They seem to put a lot of things in different parch trees and different bags, so it's not really of easy access, but they are labeled well, so that helps. Again, I'm going to cut the excess off. Sketchily, I know, but don't really have much of a choice. I've done it enough times, poked myself enough times, that I have some practice and I can control the knife if it does slip. But there's always a chance. Pop the bearings inside these little caps. Try and clear myself off some more room here. Boom. Just like that. That's in there. Looks as if it's just as simple as setting that cap inside that diff housing. Ooh, snaps in nice and snug. Whoop. Bearing to the inside. I don't know if I'll go in the other way, but you won't want to put it in backwards because I don't know if you'll ever get it out. So those are both in there nice and tight. Now it's telling me this piece, backside in, wants me to grease that up. Cap it up with that piece, followed by this piece, a little backing plate, looks like motor mount. Yeah, the backing plate goes on just like that. Alright, so I got that all snugged up, differential's tight. Gotta grab D9 off the parts tree here. Assuming that's D9. Grab the trusty hobby knife. Ooh. Might need the needle nose for that. Use the side cutters on it. Now I'm just putting the differential cover on the back. Or the, I don't know, what's it going to call it? Let's see. Gear case. That piece broke off nicely. That one not so much. I'm just putting some grease inside the housing now, because I kind of forgot to grease it when the gear was still accessible. But this is actually working out just fine. Less of a mess, to be honest. Okay, that's working pretty good. It wants me to put this cover plate on underneath here. Let's see. Oh, backwards. Just like so. And this piece over top. Sorry, D11 over top, this one here. That just sits down inside there like that. And you get a pin, I do believe, to go through there. Nope, you're going to take the 15mm screws and put them in both ends of that. You're going to want to get the other one started before you fully tighten the one on the other side, because the door just wants to open. And on the bottom, you're going to put nothing, apparently, yet. Oh, it wanted me to grease those screws. Well, it's a little late for that, and I don't think it's necessary. Gotta get 12 off of the tree. Fail. Now I'm able to finally snug up some of the screws. It's looking for an 8 here. Calling for 2 more 15s in the sides of that. And if that goes. This is a bit tricky. You gotta get both in slightly before you can tighten anything, or this just wants to take off on you. Looking to see, make sure I got all the screws where they need to be. There, here, there, and there. Here and here. 1, 2, 3. So far, so good. Gonna move on to the next step now and build the rest of the differential gears. Starting with this big guy here. I'm gonna find myself a BA12 bearing out of my fast eddy bearings. Gonna need BA12 is gonna go right in there. Followed by a BA13 in the other end, and the shaft goes through 2 of them. Whoops. This must be Two B13s because I'm going to need it for the other one. This guy slides right in there. And you got this 40mm shaft. Slide it in through the bearings, both sides. Oop, without popping that one out. Grease that bad boy up. Now I can pop it into the diff. I'm running out of this stuff already. Time to get my hands dirty. Just gotta get in there. That's why I have the paper towels. And that should sit just like so inside your gear. It spins pretty nice, especially with the bearing kit installed. We got one more gear to build and put in yet. Whoops. BA13, two BA11s, or sorry, one BA11, which I believe this guy right here. You betcha. Now it's too bad that I can't get a tighter fit on that bearing. Make sure something else isn't supposed to go in there first, because that seems pretty loose to me. However, I believe that shaft is going to slide into there. So it must seat better once you push that over the plastic molding, which pushes that through. Okay, the bearings are all seated nicely now. I'm just going to go ahead and grease up these last two gears. Push this stuff out of my way before I put the cover over. It's looking pretty good, nice and greased up. Now I have to find this. And we're gonna close this diff cover up now. Set this on here. We're gonna close up the diff with, make sure that's all lined up properly. Two 3x8, a 3x8 and a 3x10mm. 3x8 going in the top, which I found here. Don't want to over tighten that screw, but it didn't seem fully tightened. Awesome. Just reviewing everything, make sure I have everything in place where it needs to be. Then I'm going to move on to the next page. Okay, so I moved on to the next step of the book here. I'm on page 6 in the manual, part 5 of the build. And it's going to get me to assemble the turnbuckles right now, the rear arms, and put a mount on for the differential and the motor mount. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've already laid out all the pieces and screws just to speed up the video process, because I'm trying to wrap this thing up, trying to keep most of the videos roughly around half an hour. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done the same thing again. I'm moving on to part 6 now, and I'm going to be attaching the gear case and motor mount to the rear of the chassis. I got the screws laid out and these little pieces to go over on the gear case where the sway bar, I'm assuming, is going to go. So, let's get started. Okay, so I've moved on to part 7 in the manual, and right now it's going to have me put the pinion on the motor. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This looks like a different process than what I'm used to, but I was wondering what this thing's for, and it's so it can help you align your pinion gear for the chassis. And the manual has different options for different pinion sizes. The included pinion gear is a 20 turn, and it shows you exactly where to mount that. I'm just going to use a little bit of thread lock on my grub screw. There we go. A little bit too much. Wipe off the extra. Now I'm just going to start this on the flat part of the shaft. So that the pinion can still slide around. This is going to go over the pinion gear. Then you're going to extend the pinion out as far as you can till it hits the end of that black guide, we'll call it. And then you can tighten down your gear so that your grub screws, so that your pinion gear stays where you need it to be and your gear mesh is correct inside. Now we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so I got the pinion gear installed correctly on the motor using that plastic guide that came with the kit. Now I'm going to install the motor into the gearbox. That's going to cap things off for this episode of my Tamiya M-06 Miata build. So I got the motor in the car and the gears assembled. I'm 3 pages through the manual. I think that's a pretty good start for the first episode. If you like this video, please leave a comment and leave me some feedback on how it went, things I can do to improve it. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.